So yesterday I made a tweet that ended up causing a lot of controversy in the Smash scene. And a lot of people, I felt like, were taking my tweet out of context or adding their own context to it to try to push some kind of narrative that like all Smash 4 players are really soft or something like that. So I just wanted to make a video that kind of explains why I made the tweet, what I meant by what I was saying, and clear up some of the misconceptions that I think people made about my tweet. So first thing I want to get out of the way is that literally nobody on any of the posts anywhere said that like pressing the taunt button is bad and that we should ban taunting or something like that. Literally not a single person said that. I didn't say that. No other people said it. But people are trying to say, oh, you know, Smash players are trying to get taunting banned, or like people say pressing the taunt button is like unacceptable now or something. Like nobody said that at all. So let's just get that out of the way first. I think people started to like, I guess, pretend that people said that because it makes them feel like stronger than Smash 4 players or something like that, or like that they're better than everyone else because they're okay with taunting when others aren't. But yeah, that never happened. Nobody said that. Here's what the tweet itself said. Some of the disrespectful play I've seen at Gommel this weekend is honestly unacceptable. Top players should have a higher standard of sportsmanship. And so, first of all, yeah, nowhere in that tweet did I say the word taunting. I'm not talking about pressing the taunt button on the D-pad or whatever. But anyways, yeah, admittedly, this post was worded pretty poorly and a little bit too strongly, and it gave off the wrong impression. So let me try to clear it up a little bit. First of all, where I said that this disrespectful play is honestly unacceptable, I did not mean that in a way of like we need to ban this kind of behavior or punish people for doing this. I'm saying it's unacceptable in the sense that like I don't think that that's the way that top players should be portraying themselves. I think I know there was a tweet by Seagull Joe somewhere that said like that taunting was tacky, and like that's kind of how I feel about the whole situation. Is that like, yes, you have every right to do that, but you look like a dick doing it, and if you do that, then people are gonna like call you out on being a dick, or people aren't gonna like you or something like that. So I think that top players in general kind of act as a role model for the scene, and so that they should be held to a higher standard of sportsmanship. Sportsmanship is something that I've always believed in pretty strongly, and I felt like some of the stuff that I saw this weekend was just not good examples of sportsmanship at all. So I guess before we move on, let's take a look at some of the videos of exactly what happened, and then I'll talk about them for a minute.
Against the same opponent with the same mindset is something that's going to hurt a lot of top players. What in the world?
Rod, 30 seconds have... No! Rod!
A really good ground grab and tech chase game, but when you get off the stage, it might even be worse than being Cloud sometimes, just because of how telegraphed his recovery angle is.
I don't think it gets any worse than what we just saw there.
Yeah, no. Of course, as I'm saying it.
Yeah. Just in case you forgot. And look, and that's the confidence of Mistake. He is just able to just get back on his side. Again, a very ugly start, but you cannot argue with the fact he weathered the storm. And, all right.
All right, let's go, Como. Let's go, Como. I'm officially rooting for you.
All right, Mistake.
So yeah, that's kind of some of the things that sparked this tweet to begin with. And honestly, for me, it wasn't like being offended at anything. I was more of it disappointed in some of the players that were doing this. So, for example, earlier on in the day even, I was having a conversation with someone, like a messenger conversation, and they said that they didn't like how all the Bayos are always like taunting all the time or like being obnoxious. And I kind of countered that. I was like, no, I think there are Bayonetta players out there that are humble, and I was giving out some examples. And so one of them that I said was I thought Mistake was a really humble player, and I've met him before, I've played him before, and I thought he was a really good guy. And honestly, I thought one of the most humble players out there. So when I saw him going and disrespecting Como in a set, it honestly really disappointed me that a player that I used to root for all the time was doing things like that. And I was also disappointed in the community for thinking that it's cool to do that kind of thing. People are like, oh yeah, you want to, like, we should have more fun, like let the players have fun. And okay, sure, taunting can be fun, but I'm not okay with it when you go to the extent of like having fun at other people's expenses. There was people out there saying things that like, oh, here's someone who said, oh, it makes you feel better and crushes your opponent's feelings. Like, why is crushing other people's feelings ever considered something that's cool to do? That's what I don't understand. Like, why? I thought one thing I always liked about the Smash community was that it was really welcoming to everyone and really nice, and then now it's cool to crush other people. Like, I think it's cool to crush other people in game, win the game really strongly, and then maybe you can taunt afterwards. But like, when you do stuff like that and like you're playing with your food and just like not respecting your opponent as a player, I don't think that's cool. I don't like bringing other people down like that. And then you also had tweets like this one, like, oh, just beat them. But to me, the issue isn't about like who's beating who. It doesn't matter who's winning or losing. Sportsmanship comes in or bad sportsmanship comes in all kinds of forms. You have sore winners, you have sore losers, and personally, I can't stand seeing either one. I don't like seeing people rage when they lose. I hate that. And I also hate people like being really obnoxious when they win about it. Like, I think even like as a winner, like part of sportsmanship, you're supposed to shake the other person's hand and, you know, respect them as a player, respect the amount of time and effort they've put into the game to get to where they're at. And so personally for me, I have a lot more respect for players like Leo and Nairo, who like, you look at yesterday and this weekend, and those two were doing really good, destroying each other in game and beating everyone else, complete dominating performances some of the time, but they weren't putting other people down in the process. And so it's more of just that disrespecting of other people in game that I don't like. And so if you're disrespecting people, don't be surprised when I don't respect you as a player. Another kind of common argument that I saw in the Twitch chat was people saying like, oh, they're just doing that to get the opponent tilted. It's a mind game. But I think that's a really weak argument, because you're saying it's a mind game and that like you're winning harder because you're winning this mind game or mental game. But in reality, like if you look at the example of when Mistake was playing Como and it was on last stock game 2, Mistake gets the witch time, and all he has to do is up smash once, and the set's over. This set's done. But instead, he decides, no, I just want to play with my food a little bit more. Like, you know, I could have won the game, but I just want to assert my dominance more first. Like, it's humiliating to the other person. I don't understand. That's not a mind game there. That you're not mind gaming anything. This set was literally done. You don't have anything to gain from that. There was also like the argument though that okay, maybe this is a mind game for his future opponents, trying to show to his future opponents that, oh yeah, look at this, I don't even respect my opponents and that makes me super strong or something. But I don't know, I don't like that either. I don't think that's a good argument. But yeah, just in general, I'm disappointed by how many people seem to think that sportsmanship is like something that should be disregarded. Personally, for me, sportsmanship was something that was I thought everybody learned in grade school, and I don't know why people seem to think that we don't have to be nice to each other. Like I don't like people that are mean, and so I think taunting itself isn't inherently mean, but you can do things in game that are mean to your opponent. And there is people out there like, oh yeah, everything's more exciting this way, it's more fun like when there's villains, but I don't like that. I don't like the whole villain persona thing. I can never condone being mean to other people, and honestly I'd rather exist in a boring community where everyone has respect for each other than one that promotes toxic behavior. People were also like trying to compare what happened either to something that happened in the Melee scene earlier, like for example, there was Hungrybox against Mango from like 8 years ago or something, where Mango woke up Hungrybox with a jab from a missed rest instead of resting him back.
Mango. Disrespectful, Mango. That's disrespectful to everyone. To Hungrybox, to me, to you.
And like, oh yeah, this happened once before. Like nobody complained about it then, and like, actually people did complain about it then. It's always been something that's been not good. Or like, there was also people like, oh, why aren't you calling out the Melee players too? Like, I didn't watch the Melee players, I didn't see them, but looking back at some of the videos that people shared, yeah, I disagree with what they were doing there too. Like, there was one that someone pointed out, I think it was a Crush against an Ice Climbers player, I forget who, but he was just like excessively taunting when he's up 2-1 and it's down to Sopo on his last stock and he had like 3 stocks left or something. Like, I don't think that's cool.
He smiles.
Yeah.
How will he perform at his orchestra after this?
Yo.
This is a little much.
This is a little much.
This is a little much, dude. My man Crush.
Oh, man.
He didn't even use up smash.
Yo, that's great.
You get it, dude.
Hey, like, someone even is trying to compare it to pro sports. Like, oh yeah, you think this is bad? Wait till you see like football or basketball or something. And like, actually, if you look at it, almost every professional sports league in existence has rules about having good sportsmanship, and there's penalties and fines even for unsportsmanlike conduct. So I don't think that, first of all, comparing it to something else and saying that, oh, it happened here, that makes it okay, or anything like that, that's a poor comparison to begin with. But at the same time, like, don't try to bring in a sports analogy when there's all these governing bodies of professional sports that do strictly say in the rules that that's not okay to do. And in the Smash scene, we don't really have like a governing body that can set rules on sportsmanship or anything like that. And I'm not saying that we should, but I do think that it's at some point it gets to be a little excessive, and that maybe we shouldn't be like so accepting of it. I don't think. So yeah, just to wrap everything up. I think as a top player, when you're playing on stage, top 8, 10,000 people watching you or so, I think it's kind of you have a responsibility to like portray the scene in a good light, and there's people that are watching that are maybe thinking about joining the scene in Smash 4 and things like that, and then this is like the kind of behavior they're seeing. I think that's not a good introduction to the scene. So I think that with Smash 5 coming up and stuff, we can do a little bit better. I'm not saying we need to ban taunting. I'm not saying we need to ban disrespecting and not going for the wish times. I'm just saying I think as a community, we're better than this, and that we can set a better example. And just that I was a little bit disappointed in some of the community for thinking that that stuff like this is like cool. So that was just my thoughts. Honestly, I'm one person with one opinion. Everything that I said in this video is my sole opinion. I do not represent the whole Smash scene as a whole. There was a lot of people from outside the Smash scene that were like saying that, oh, the whole Smash scene is soft or something. Like, maybe it's just me that's soft. I don't know, but don't go saying that a whole community is one way because of one person either. That's also not cool, and is also just not a good thing to be doing. So don't do that. So let's just be nice to each other. That's all I'm asking for. Is let's be good people. That's all I want.